Michelle's going to lead this classic crack climb, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think about in terms of belaying the lead climber. We're going to do our standard safety check. That's not different for lead climbing versus a top rope. But then the belaying itself is quite different. Instead of taking in rope and keeping the rope pretty tight the way I would on a top rope, I'm feeding out rope, and I'm trying to keep some slack in the system so she can move freely. And then every time I see her place a piece, when she goes to clip, I'm going to feed out a bunch of slack right away. I also need to keep in mind that a lead fall can generate quite a bit of force, and I need to be braced accordingly.
On belay?
Okay, belay's on. Okay, so I'm feeding out a bunch of slack here, enough that Michelle can go all the way to her first piece, which I expect is going to be right there as high as she can reach from this ledge. I don't want to have to feed out more slack while she's placing that piece. I just want to be focused on spotting. And remember, the rope's not doing anything for her until she's actually clipped it to that first piece. So I'm just focused on spotting and keeping the rope out of her way.
Climbing.
Climb on. Nice, looks good. Now she's going to clip, and shortly when she makes the clip, I will switch from spotting to belaying. Awesome, looks good. And I'm not giving her much slack. In fact, she clipped above her waist, so now as she climbs up to it, I'm taking in slack until she reaches the piece, and I'll feed out rope as she climbs above it. I see her placing a second piece, so I need to start thinking about getting ready to feed out rope quickly when I see her go to clip. I see her reach down for the rope, I take a big arm length so she can clip, and then I take in any extra slack if I gave her too much. And now she's got a piece clipped above her waist, so as she climbs up to it, she's just like on a top rope for a couple feet here. So I'm pulling rope in, and then as her waist belt arrives at and passes that piece, I switch back to feeding out rope, but not too much. I don't want to give her any extra slack at this point. She's still pretty close to the ground. And I'm braced to give that soft catch, moving with my hips a little bit if she falls. Okay, I see her going to clip, so feeding out rope. Nice, she got the clip, taking in any extra rope I gave her, and now she's again clipped above her harness. So that's a couple feet of essentially being on a top rope where I'm pulling in rope as she climbs up to it. And now, as her tie-in point arrives at and passes that piece, I'm back to feeding out rope so she can go up. I'm still not putting all that much slack in the system. Really only that third piece and maybe the second piece are between her and hitting the ground. I'm not trying to give her too much slack here, but once she places another piece, I'm going to start giving her a looser belay. Most lead climbers prefer to have more freedom of movement, more ability to pull up a little rope if they need to move or clip a piece. And so this angle where the rope leaves my belay device and goes almost directly to the first piece, see, as she clips, even she's clipping right at her waist, but I had to give her some rope to do that. Most lead climbers prefer more like this angle where it comes straight out from your belay device and then goes up. You don't want it coming out from your belay device and sagging down towards the ground. But this angle where the rope comes straight out from your belay device is the amount of slack most leaders seem to like in the system, unless they're just above the ground or a ledge or something else that they could hit. Michelle has just placed a piece and she's going to clip the rope to it in a second here. This is where the lead belayer really needs to be quick. You want to feed out enough rope so your climber can make the clip without having the experience of fighting you for rope or being short roped. Everybody hates that. Usually one arm length will do it. So the way I do it is I grab just above the belay device, slide my brake hand as far down the rope as I can reach, and feed out one full arm length. Then I grab above the belay device again, slide the brake hand down, and stand ready to feed out part or all of a second arm's length. That second arm's length will generally do the trick if the first one doesn't. And now she's clipped above her harness again, so I'm going back to pulling in slack as she climbs up until that piece of gear passes her tie-in point again. Giving a lead belay with the gree-gree involves two different motions for feeding out rope. If I just need to feed out rope slowly as Michelle climbs, I can do it with a two-handed motion, just like on an ATC sliding it through the device. And as long as I go slowly and smoothly, the brakes don't engage. If I need to feed out quickly, for example, when she goes to clip a piece, I keep 3 fingers on the brake strand, hook my forefinger under this shelf that's here for that purpose, disengage the brakes with my thumb, and now I'm ready as she clips the piece to give her 1 and potentially, let's see how high, yep, 2 arm lengths really quick. And now I'll take in the excess because she did make the clip. And now she's clipped to a piece that's well above her waist. So as she climbs up to it, I'm actually taking in slack. And then once she passes it, I'll start feeding out again.